Minority Report, the movie where Tom Cruise prevents crime in Washington, D.C. before it can happen with the help of his 3 psychic sea monkeys and their balls, has just turned 15 years old. And so, to celebrate one of Steven Spielberg's finest sci-fi films, here are some things you might have forgotten or perhaps never even knew about Minority Report. Fact the first. Did you know that since Minority Report is based on a Philip K. Dick story of the same name, that it was originally supposed to act as a sequel to another Dick adaptation? The eye-popping, lady costume-wearing, ass-to-Mars-getting Schwarzenegger movie, Total Recall.
Now this is the plan. Get your ass to Mars.
It's true. Minority Report was optioned in 1992, which means it took 10 years to make Minority Report happen. Why did it take so long, Danny? Excellent question, me. Here's the true Hollywood story. Gary Goldman options and writes a draft of the Minority Report script in 1992 designed to be a Total Recall sequel. Nobody takes it, so the idea sits on the shelf. Then in 1997, novelist John Cohen writes a new script which is supposed to be directed by Twister director Jan de Bont. But Tom Cruise gets a hold of the script and sends it to Steven Spielberg, who he wanted to work with since they met and became buds on the set of Risky Business. But Spielberg is not into the script and makes Cohen rewrite it. Then in 1998, Spielberg's like, yeah, let's do it. But then, Tom Cruise is on Mission Impossible 2, and that production runs long, so Spielberg brings in another screenwriter, which is great, until the original writers of the very first draft claim that their work is being stolen, which leads to arbitration, and by then, Spielberg is picking up where Kubrick left off on AI, and now the people they had originally cast or wanted to cast are all unavailable, so they have to recast, and then finally, they film the goddamn movie. Woo! Catch my breath there. Something else that's interesting about Minority Report is that it is the first movie ever to have an entirely digital production design. So, instead of typical storyboarding, the production team did everything digitally, including block out every major action sequence. Not only did Spielberg love that, but those digital pre-visualizations could then be sent to the people working on the tie-in game, Minority Report Everybody Runs, so they could accurately rebuild the world of the movie before the actual film had even wrapped production. And speaking of cool technology, one of the most famous aspects of Minority Report is the lengths Spielberg went to in order to accurately envision the year 2054. The man brought together 15 experts and futurists for a 3-day think tank to come up with what the somewhat, but not too distant future would look like. And it worked pretty all right. Multi-touch interfaces have already started becoming a thing. Retina scanners are also a reality, although the way too personal pop-up ads don't show up everywhere you look just yet. Thank goodness.
Hello, Mr. Yakamoto. Welcome back to the Gap. How those assorted tank tops work out for you?
But personalized advertising certainly gets more personalized by the day. Gesture recognition software is certainly in plenty of other movies. What's up, Tony Stark? And the United States military is even working on insect robots similar to the robot spiders in Minority Report. So that's fun, terrifying fun. We don't have newspapers that update themselves, but we do have tablets and TVs that are so thin they look like a poster, so e-paper isn't far off. Really, the only thing Spielberg included in the film that wasn't designed to be realistic was jetpacks. And technically, we can make those. They're just super not safe. As for the concept of pre-crime.
Within just 1 month under the PreCrime program, the murder rate in the District of Columbia was reduced 90%.
We have not invented that yet exactly, but algorithms do exist to collate a range of variables in order to better predict the who and the where of crime. I don't know if I'd call that good, but crime in Memphis is down 31%, so yay. Okay, look. It is no secret that Minority Report does not paint the best picture of what pre-crime might look like, which I think is pretty fair. John Anderton spends most of the movie on the run because he's been accused of a crime he has no intention of committing.
Everybody runs.
He even has to go so far as to kidnap the main precog, Agatha, only to discover that she does not want to be a precog at all.
I'm tired of the future.
And that her mother, spoiler alert, was murdered by John's boss, Lamar Burgess, in order to prevent pre-crime from being shut down. And how does Burgess get away with murder? Because there's a flaw in the system, and it's not the only one. The movie is called Minority Report for a reason. Not all the precogs agree every time that someone actually is going to commit the crime. There is often a minority report showing an outcome where the criminal doesn't commit the crime. Did I mention the people captured through PreCrime are locked up in a little tank of their own, forced into a dreamlike coma state forever? It's kind of a severe sentence, even if the person might have been guilty. He stole a bottle of my peach knee-high soda pop, boys. Put him in forever dream prison. But I think what's really interesting is that Spielberg and Dick have very different outlooks on the concept of precrime. In the movie, Anderton proves that precrime is not an absolute and causes it to be shut down.
In 2054, the 6-year precrime experiment was abandoned.
In the original short story, though, the villain sets up John by creating a false precog vision that shows John will kill him. The villain thinks John won't kill him, but John does. Because of all the possible futures the precogs show John, the version where he is a murderer is the best one. So, hooray for thought policing. Interesting fact about the ending of Minority Report, by the way, there is some debate as to whether or not anything from the end is real. Because John does get captured and put in one of those tanks where he's told,
"They say you have visions, that your life flashes before your eyes, that all your dreams come true."
So, is the ending where he defeats Burgess, precrime is dismantled, and the precogs are all freed real? Or just inside of John's mind? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. As far as what Spielberg has made clear about this version of Minority Report, it is obviously about free will versus determinism, a sci-fi staple. And unlike the Dick story, this version is also about broken families, since Anderton's son is kidnapped and he is estranged from his wife. Broken families, by the way, are a Spielberg staple. Just look at E.T.
Maybe you ought to call your father and tell him about it.
I can't. He's in Mexico with Sally.
But Minority Report was also, in part, supposed to be a somewhat political story in the wake of 9/11, since stuff like the Patriot Act was being passed and we were sacrificing privacy in the name of safety. Considering where we are at Minority Report's 15th anniversary, it feels like its themes are more relevant than ever, let's say. Certainly worth a rewatch. But before you go, make sure to subscribe to Sci-Fi Wire's YouTube channel and follow us on Twitter. And remember, if precrime becomes a thing someday, do not steal my peach knee-high soda pop, or else it's dream prison for you. See you next time.